To escape from a group of robbers, a mother and daughter hide inside a secret room in their house. But the robbers eventually find the room. Getting inside it is nearly impossible. Yet instead of stealing other valuables, the robbers focus on trying to break into that hidden space. The mother and daughter then work together to find a way to escape safely. What happens next will truly shock you. Today's movie is Panic Room, filled with suspense and thrill. The story begins in New York City. The woman wearing glasses is named Meg, and the little girl on roller skates is Sarah. They arrive with a real estate agent to look at a house. The agent shows them around the spacious home, which even has an elevator. The previous owner was wealthy and extremely cautious, afraid that burglars might break in at any time. So, he built a secret panic room connected to the main bedroom. The entrance was hidden behind a mirror. Once the mirror was opened, a heavy door was revealed. The agent takes Meg inside the room, and she's amazed. There's a special telephone that connects directly to the police, independent of the house's main phone lines. The room is built with thick concrete walls for protection. The hidden room is surrounded by steel walls and contains CCTV monitors that show every corner of the house. When Meg asks how the door works, the agent presses a red button nearby, and the heavy steel door locks with a loud thud. It runs on batteries, meaning it can still lock even during a power outage. The loud locking sound frightens Meg, and she quickly asks to open the door. Just then, her daughter Sarah enters the room. Sarah is fascinated and says, "I want to stay in this room from now on." Meg warns her not to, as it could be dangerous if someone gets caught between the door. The agent explains that the door has laser sensors to prevent accidents. Meg likes the idea of this safe room. She's a well-known scientist with a stable income, but emotionally fragile due to an ongoing divorce. Her husband now lives with another woman. Wanting a new start, Meg and Sarah move into this house with their belongings. On their first night, they order pizza for dinner. Meg tucks Sarah into bed in her own room and then goes to the master bedroom. She reads the security manual and turns on the CCTV cameras but doesn't fully understand the system yet. The phone line also remains disconnected. Thinking she'll figure it out tomorrow, Meg decides to rest. Exhausted, she falls asleep as a storm rages outside. A car stops in front of Meg's house late at night. A man steps out and tries to unlock the door with a key, but it doesn't open. Meg, half asleep, wonders who could be trying to enter her house at this hour and how they got a key. One of the men outside tries another door, but that doesn't work either. He then climbs up the stairs to the roof, opens a gate, and gets inside. The alarm system breaks, and a faint signal flashes on the display beside Meg's bed. The noise is so soft that Meg, in deep sleep, doesn't wake up. Once inside, the intruder realizes two people are already in the house. Shocked, he rushes downstairs and lets his two partners in. The man wearing a cap is Burnham, the one in a mask is Raoul, and the younger man is Junior. They had assumed the house was empty because Meg and Sarah weren't supposed to move in for another 2 weeks. The robbers know the house's layout and even some personal details about Meg. But Burnham isn't a professional criminal. He's just in it for some quick money. Meanwhile, Meg wakes up. She first goes into the panic room, turns on the lights, and then heads to the bathroom. As the intruders move upstairs, Junior accidentally kicks a football that rolls down and makes a noise. Meg hears it and instantly realizes someone is inside the house. She rushes to Sarah's room. Sarah wakes up, and together they try to escape. Raoul spots them, so Meg quickly gets into the elevator. Junior runs up the stairs. Sarah reminds her mother about the panic room, and Meg immediately stops the elevator. They both get out and run toward the main bedroom. By that time, Junior has reached the upper floor. Meg and Sarah enter the panic room just in time. They move the bed sheets and pillows away from the door so the laser sensor can function properly. Junior tries to break in, but Meg presses the red button and locks the steel door. Junior can't get inside. He yells and throws things in frustration. Soon, the other two robbers join him. Here comes the twist. The robbers aren't after jewelry or electronics. The money they're looking for is actually hidden inside the panic room. Junior used to work in this house and learned about the hidden cash from the former owner. However, the owner's children and relatives never knew about it, so it wasn't included when the property was divided. Now the situation is clear. The only way to get the money is to break into the panic room. Junior asks Burnham how they can get in. Burnham replies, "There's no way. I've been building these rooms for 20 years. It becomes clear that Junior brought Burnham along because he knows all the technical details about panic rooms. Inside, Meg and Sarah are trapped. Meg picks up the phone receiver but finds there's no signal. To connect it, she'd have to call through Burnham's security system. She presses the intercom button and asks the intruders what they want. The robbers can hear Meg's voice through the speaker, but she can't hear theirs. The robbers show their demands on a piece of paper, telling Meg what they want from inside the room. Meg tells them to leave and says, "I've called the police." Byrne realizes she's lying. Meg is stunned. How did these men know so much? The robbers lock every door and window of the house. Raoul and Junior go to the room below the panic room and try to break through the ceiling. But they fail because the lower section is made of thick steel. Byrne notices a gas cylinder outside and gets an idea. He drills into the ventilation shaft, connects a pipe, and opens the gas. Gradually, gas begins seeping into the panic room, displacing the oxygen. Meg starts to wheeze. Raoul wants to increase the gas pressure, but Byrne refuses. Their intent is only to frighten Meg and Sarah. Raoul raises the gas pressure anyway, which risks killing Meg and Sarah. Oxygen runs low in the panic room. Sarah opens the west window and puts her face close to the exposed pipeline to breathe. Meg does the same and tries to block the ventilation shaft with tape, but the gas keeps blowing the tape loose. Both grow sick from lack of oxygen. Byrne repeatedly tells the others to reduce the gas pressure, warning that if Meg and Sarah lose consciousness, the gate cannot be opened. Meg gets an idea. From the emergency kit in the panic room, she pulls out a fire blanket and wraps it around Sarah. Then she takes a lighter and presses it near the ventilation. Junior puts his ear to the wall to check whether they've passed out. At that moment, Meg strikes the lighter and there's a loud blast. Fire erupts inside the panic room. Meg and Sarah are protected by the fire blanket, but flames spread through the room. The fire spreads from the cylinder and sprays across the area. Junior catches fire, but Byrne immediately smothers the flames with a sheet. Junior screams in anger, but Raoul tells him to be quiet. The robbers grow frustrated. They can't find any other way into the panic room. Little Sarah then thinks of something. Through the west pipe, she can see the window of the house across the street. She begins signaling with a torch. Even though it's pouring rain, she keeps the light on. After a short while, someone in that house wakes and comes to the window, but because of the rain, they cannot hear Meg and Sarah's screams. The person draws the curtain, and Meg and Sarah feel hopeless. Then they see two robbers standing by the stairs talking. Raoul and Junior are planning to split the money between themselves. Byrne stands near the stairs. Meg has another idea. She tells Sarah, "My phone is next to the bed. If I can't get back, lock the gate and don't go out until the police arrive." Meg rushes into the bedroom and finds the phone. At that moment, the lamp on the table is knocked over and falls. The robbers hear the sound and realize someone has left the panic room. They begin rushing upstairs. Sarah sees through the CCTV that the robbers are running upstairs. She screams for Meg. Meg grabs the phone and jumps into the panic room just in time. Byrne also reaches the room, but Sarah quickly presses the button and locks the steel door again. The robbers realize they just missed their chance, though Byrne immediately figures out what happened. Meg now has the phone inside the panic room. Junior, who had been hiding under the bed earlier, suspects that Meg might try to call the police. Byrne reassures him there's no signal inside the room. He's right. Even though Meg turns the phone on, there's no reception. The thick concrete walls block all signals, leaving both Byrne and Junior frustrated. The robbers listen closely from outside, trying to hear what's going on. Meg comes up with another idea. She cuts part of the telephone wire and starts looking for the main line through the ventilation shaft. Byrne grows suspicious and begins unscrewing the line from outside. But Meg finds it first and yanks it hard to make the connection work. Meg dials 911. At first, the operator puts her on hold, but she doesn't have much time. Sarah tells her to call her father instead. Meg dials her ex-husband's number and says, "Please help us." 3 men are inside the house. Just then, Raoul smashes the circuit with a hammer, cutting the connection. Sarah breaks down, saying, "Dad's not going to come." But Meg holds on to hope, believing her husband will try to save them. That's also why Meg bought this house near where he lives. Sarah, who has diabetes, starts showing signs of low blood sugar from fear and stress. Meg searches the room for something sweet, but there's nothing. Meanwhile, Junior, whose face was badly burned from the earlier explosion, writhes in pain. He begs, "Let's just go. This job's over." But Raoul refuses. Junior then reveals that the panic room doesn't hold 30 million, it holds 100 million. He threatens to tell the police and collect a reward of a couple of million instead. The other 2 explode in anger. When Junior tries to open the door to leave, Raoul shoots him in the head, killing him instantly. Byrne is shocked. He's never witnessed a murder before. Raoul drags Junior's body inside. Meg and Sarah watch everything from the CCTV feed, terrified. Sarah's blood sugar drops even lower. Raoul fires another bullet into Junior's head to make sure he's dead. At that moment, someone appears at the main gate. Raoul grabs the man at gunpoint. Byrne tries to slip away, but Raoul stops him and orders him to lock the gate. Meg is stunned when she realizes the man is her husband. Byrne checks his wallet and confirms his identity. Raoul points his gun at him and asks coldly, "Did you call the police?" Blood was dripping from Stephen's nose. He didn't say whether he had called the police. Raoul drags Byrne up to gunpoint and says, "Open that room quickly, or I'll kill you like I did Junior." Byrne is basically a good man who's never really done anything this bad before. Terrified, he gets an idea. He holds Stephen's ID card up to the CCTV camera. Meg sees it and freezes. Byrne signals, "If you don't open the gate, I'll have your husband killed." Raoul starts beating Stephen. But Byrne restrains him, and a fight breaks out between the 2. Meg is terrified, and Sarah's blood sugar drops even further. She's getting weaker. Byrne covers the CCTV camera so Meg can't see what's happening inside. The injection Sarah needs is in the fridge and it's urgent, so Meg rushes for the fridge. At that moment, Stephen is unconscious. Raoul and Byrne have disguised him to look like Raoul and dragged him downstairs. Byrne comes back upstairs and Raoul, now masked, pins Meg down. Meg quickly throws the injection bag toward Sarah. Raoul locks the gate, but in the rush, his hand gets caught. Sarah is almost unconscious and can't make a sound. As Raoul shoves Meg, his gun falls from his hand. Meg grabs it immediately. She could run, but her daughter Sarah is trapped inside, so she doesn't. Meg grabs the controller by the bed and speaks to the robbers. "My daughter is sick. There's the injection in that bag. Give it now or I'll shoot." Byrne realizes Meg won't give up easily, and he doesn't want a child hurt either. He tells Meg to go downstairs. She does. Byrne then opens the gate. Raoul's trapped hand slips out, and he writhes in pain. Byrne quickly injects Sarah and says, "I have a daughter too. This is why I'm doing this." Sarah is stunned and realizes Byrne isn't completely evil. Byrne then opens a locker inside the panic room. There's no cash, but there are some bearer bonds. Cashed at the bank, they would yield a much larger sum. The bond's true value is not 100 crore, but 200 crore Jr. had been lying from the start. When Byrne pockets the bonds, Raoul grabs the speaker and threatens, "If you try to run or tell the police, we'll kill your daughter." At that moment, the doorbell rings. 2 police officers are standing at the gate. The robbers panic. Through the speaker, Raoul issues strict orders. Meg gets one chance. Actually, Stephen, the man who came from outside, had already phoned the police to say his wife needed help. Meg's call had been cut earlier. Meg opens the door and the officers ask if she's okay. Meg plays it calm and says everything is fine, but the police are suspicious. Her composure doesn't look natural. They ask, "If you're uncomfortable, blink once." Meg stays silent and looks at them for a moment. If the police go inside now, her daughter could be killed. The officers think it over and then leave. Meg goes inside and immediately smashes all the security cameras in the house. From the panic room, Byrne and Raoul can no longer see anything. Then Meg locks several gates to trap them. Stephen, sitting downstairs, holds a gun and a flashlight in his injured hand. Byrne and Raoul slowly make their way down the stairs. Raoul keeps a hold on Sarah so Meg can't attack them. As they come down, Stephen flashes the light to get their attention. Holding the gun, he shouts, "Let my daughter go, or I'll shoot." Meanwhile, Meg quietly sneaks in through the back door and strikes Raoul with a hammer. He falls to the ground. Byrne tries to escape, but by then, the police have surrounded the house. Raoul gets up again and Stephen tries to shoot, but his broken hand causes the bullet to miss. Meg wrestles with Raoul, trying to break free, but he grabs the hammer. Just then, Byrne shoots Raoul in the head. Moments later, the police rush in. Byrne tries to flee, but is caught. The bearer bonds in his hand scatter into the air. Though he wasn't entirely a bad man, Byrne still has to face the consequences. In the final scene, Meg and Sarah sit together on a park bench. Sarah looks at a newspaper ad. They're searching for a new home. The story ends on a tense but emotional note, showing Meg's bravery as she fights to save her daughter from the robbers.